ירביצנו על מי מנוחות, על מי מנוחות ינהלני. נפשי ישובב ינחני ומגלי צדק, ינחני ומגלי צדק למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגיא צלמוות לא אירא רע, כי אתה עמדי, שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפניי שולחן נגד צורריי, דשנת ושמן ראשי כוסי רוויה. וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. אדוני רואי לא אחסר, אדוני רואי שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש, הקדוש ברוך הוא. הולכם לשלום מלאכי השלום, מלאכי עליון, ממלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא. שלום עליכם, שלום עליכם, מלאכי השרת, מלאכי שירו לאדוני שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני ברכו שמו, פסמו מיום ליום ישועתו. שירו לאדוני שיר חדש. לחזות בנועם אדוני. To gaze upon the beauty of Adonai. One thing, I ask you, Adonai, to be with you all of my life. Shifti ve'et Adonai. Achad sha'alti ota b'chayi. Achad sha'alti ve'et Adonai. Achad sha'alti ota vayakesh. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Shalom.
Welcome, welcome, welcome to the last Shabbat of 5782. It's tempting to say, good riddance of that year. There has been so much that has been challenging about this last year, but I also want to make sure we never lose sight of the many, many good things that happened on a global scale, on a community scale, at a central scale, and for each one of us, no matter how hard the year might have been, and I know for some of us it was really hard, there are blessings that we can always find, and that is part of what we seek to do, especially when we come to Shabbat. We let go of all those things that are hard. We take a moment to just sit in some gratitude, presence, breath, Shabbat. So that's what I invite us to do. Chance to be reflective with whatever is happening. And getting to a new year is a reminder that it is very important to mark time. Otherwise, as we kind of learned, especially in the last couple of years, the days just run together. So, of course, the primary unit of marking time in Judaism is the week that ends with Shabbat. So let us celebrate this last Shabbat of this year that we've got. I'm grateful to be with you. I'm Rabbi Angela Buchdahl, joined on the Bima tonight by Cantor Dan Mutlu, Rabbi Dan Ross, Rabbi Hilly Haber, Rabbi Mo Salth, and we're grateful to have Jeff and Susie Stern on our Bima, representing our leadership and great friends of this community. So now you know who we are. Oh, I want to make sure, of course, I thank our musicians who have been working all week long preparing not for services, but for services coming up in a couple of days. We're grateful to them and them up here. They really had a very long day, even today. We say thank you. We thank our shamashim who have greeted you as you came in, and our AV team, our security team, our ops team that make all of this possible. And of course, we want to say Shabbat Shalom to all of you who are watching. It looked like we just waved to you already, but we're going to intentionally wave to all of you watching through live stream, JBS, and all the other ways that you're joining us. We hope you'll join us also for the holidays that are upcoming. So now you know who we are. Let's just take a moment and maybe greet each other and wish each other a Shabbat Shalom. We want to bring in more light of Shabbat, and we're very happy to have our rabbinic intern, Andrew Mandel, and his partner, Mozart de Oliveira, bring in the lights of Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kishanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lehadlik ner shel
Continue with Kabbalat Shabbat, bringing in Shir Ladonai. It's found on your order of service, a little sound of Israel to get us going for Kabbalat Shabbat.
Shir Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shir Ladonai.
Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato, Shiru Adonai, Shiru Adonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Adonai, Kol Haaretz, Shiru Adonai, Baruchu Shemo, Basru miyom leyom Yeshuato. Sapru v'goyim kevodo, bechol ha'amim nifleotav, ki gadol Adonai, ומהולל מאוד, לא ראו על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו. ספרו והגויים כבודו, וכל העמים נפלאותיו, כי גדול אדוני ומהולל מאוד, לא ראו על כל אלוהים. שירו לאדוני, שיר חדש, שירו לאדוני, כל הארץ, שירו לאדוני, ברכו שמו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו, בסרו מיום ליום ישועתו.
We'll continue either on page 18 in our prayer book with Mizmor LaDavid, or you can find the transliteration on your order of service.
מזמור לדוד. אהבו לאדוני בני אלים, אהבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, אהבו לאדוני כבוד שמו, השתחוו לאדוני בהדרת קודש. כל אדוני על המים, כבוד ירים, אדוני אלמי פרבים. כל אדוני בכוח, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארזים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון.
It has been a season of a lot of weddings. Coming out of the pandemic, I actually did 3 weddings in the last 2 weeks. I can explain to you later how you do that. But I'm actually looking at it. I already see either couples that I relatively recently married or who are about to get married. It's a very wonderful thing. And one of the things I love about weddings, which is one of my favorite things I get to do as a rabbi, is that every couple are the most amazing people you've ever met on their wedding day. And every bride is the most beautiful person you've ever seen on her wedding day. And there's something so joyful, and you get pulled into the magic of it. That's what we're supposed to feel every time we get to this L'chad Odi. If you can just think of one of the most beautiful weddings you've been to, that's the spirit and the feeling and the love. So let us bring in this bride, this beautiful bride, and we are partners with this bride to bring in this love. Page 20 and 21, we'll do verses 1, 2, 5, and when we get to 9, let's rise together for the Sabbath bride.
Ya la 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 L'chad Odi.
Ya la la la.
Ya la 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 Likrat Kala.
Ya la la.
Ya la 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 B'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabela. Ya la 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 L'chad Odi. Ya la 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 Likrat Kala. Ya la 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 B'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Shamor v'zachor b'diburecha hishmiyanu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shmo echad l'shemo tiferet litfilah. Ya la la, ya la 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 la, L'chad Odi.
Ya la 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 la
Likrat Kala. Ya la 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 la, B'nei Shabbat. B'nei Shabbat nekabela.
Likrat Shabbat. L'chu b'neicha. Ki b'kol haberacha.
במחשבה תחילה. עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוך אמוני הסגולה
astonishing things about our cantor is that the more he sings, the stronger he gets. So 5 hours of rehearsal today, 20 hours of rehearsal this week.
It was a great
he only
warm-up.
sounds the best he's ever sounded. Instead of being tired, it's really a gift.
How about some more song?
What's that?
it.
How about some more?
So we'll sing some more.
Yeah.
Yes, we're now ready to be called to worship. Page 146. Baruch Hu.
Lai lai la lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 la lai, yai lai la lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 la lai. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Please be seated. this was one of the first crisp days in New York City. I don't know if any of you mentioned that to one another as we walked in our city. And our ancestors also marveled at the seasons. This year, it's interesting, the Jewish year is coinciding with the transition from summer to fall. And our ancestors wrote about it in this next prayer, the transition from day into night, the sun, the moon, the stars, this magnificent rotation of the heavens around us. Let's read this prayer together in Hebrew on page 147. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bidvaro ma'ariv aravim, b'chokhmah poteach sha'arim, uvitnuna mishanei itim, umachalif et hazmanim, misader et kochavim, b'mishmeroteim barakir kirtsono, bore yom v'layla, goler or mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or.
ומעביר יום ומביא לילה ומבדיל בין יום ובין לילה אדוני צבאות שמו אל חי וקיים תמיד ימלוך עלינו לעולם מהר ברוך אתה אדוני אמרי ורבי.
In each age we receive and transmit Torah. At each moment we're addressed by the world.
In each age we are challenged by our ancient teaching. At each moment we stand face to face with truth.
In each age we add our wisdom to that which has gone before. At each moment the knowing heart is filled with wonder.
In each age the children of Torah become its builders and seek to set the world firm on a foundation of truth. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael, Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Va'ed. Ve'afta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol lebavcha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha ve'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinatam levanecha v'dibartam b'ham v'shivtecha b'beitecha u'v'lechtecha b'derech u'v'shochbecha u'kumecha u'kshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot b'neinecha u'chtavtam al mezuzot beitecha u'visharecha leman tizkeru v'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim liot lachem le'elohim ani Adonai Elohechem.
We're on page 152, recalling our people's exit from slavery into freedom with Micha Mocha.
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
here and throughout the world with our Hashkivenu can be found on the top of page 2 of our order of service.
Sometimes I lay under the moon and thank God I'm breathing. Then I say, don't take me soon, 'cause I'm here for a reason. Sometimes in my tears I drown, but I never let it get me down. 'Cause the negativity surrounds. I know someday it'll all turn around, because all my life I've been waiting for, I've been praying for the people to say that they don't want to fight no more. There'll be no more wars, and our children will play. One day, one day, one day, one day, one day, oh, one day, one day, one day, one day. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Hashkivenu Malkeinu l'shalom, Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom, Hashkivenu Malkeinu l'chaim. One day, one day, one day, oh, one day, 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 oh, one day, one day, We continue with Tefillah on page 155.
Adonai, Sifatai tiftach, Ufi yagi, Tilatecha. Adonai, Sifatai tiftach, Ufi yagi, Tehilatecha. Ay, 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 Adonai, Sifatai tiftach, Ufi yagi, Tehilatecha. Sefatai tiftach, Ofi yagid, Tilatecha. Adonai, Sefatai tiftach, Ofi yagid, Tilatecha. Atah Adonai, Eloheinu, Elohei Avotenu Mimotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, Elohei Yaakov, אלוהי שרה, אלוהי רבקה, אלוהי רחל ואלוהי לאה, האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא, אל עליון, גומל חסדים טובים, וקונה הכל, וזוכר חסדי אבות ואימהות, ומביא גאולה לבני בניהם, למען שמו באהבה. מלך עוזר ומושיע ומגן, ברוך אתה אדוני, מגן אברהם ועזרת שרה. אתה גיבור לעולם אדוני, מחיים מתים, אתה רב להושיע, מוריד הטל, מחכה חיים בחסד, בחיי מתים ברחמים רבים, צומח נופלים ורופא חולים, ומתיר אסורים, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בגבורות, ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות ביתי. ברוך אתה אדוני, מחיי המתים. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך הסלע. ברוך אתה אדוני, האל הקדוש.
We continue now silently with the words in our prayer book through page 167, alongside the words we find within our own hearts and minds. We may be seated or standing, as is your preference.
אמצעך, מקומך נעלה ונעלם, ואנה לא אמצעך, כבודך מלא עולם.
דרשתי קרבתך
בכל ליבי קראתיך וצאתי לקראתך מצאתי לקראתיך
In this week's Torah portion, Nitzavim, we find an odd bit of grammar that demands our attention. We read that a time will come when the children of Israel will find themselves in exile. But should we return to God by heeding God's commandments, God will cause our fortunes to return and take us back in love. Only the word that we translate as to cause to return, vishav, is not actually in its causative form as we would expect in the Hebrew in this verse. Instead, it's in the active form, seeming to say not God caused our fortunes to return, but rather more simply, God returned. Rashi looks at this verse and asks, where did God return from? His answer, God must have been in exile with us, sticking with us even in our darkest of times, which is an especially moving teaching for those members of our community whose lives have been touched by illness, who in their pain might feel a sense of exile. And with the words of our prayers for healing, we remind ourselves that God is always with us, no matter where we are. At this time, the Central Synagogue community is praying for the healing of Ann Gresser, Candace Smilo, Bill Smith, and Karen Turner. I invite you all to add any names that you would like to share to that list as well. We wish them a refuah shlema.
Those who sow in tears will reap in joy, will reap in joy. Those who sow in tears will reap in joy. 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 Will will reap in joy.
And we also know that there are many things that the wonderful group of people who we have gathered to pray with this evening are celebrating this Shabbat. And so we will invite you to rise if any such thing that I list applies to you. For example, if you are celebrating one of those dates that marks another trip around the sun, maybe a birthday or an anniversary or some other milestone, we invite you to rise at this time. There's a happy birthday or anniversary. Okay, there we go.
Including our executive director, Marcia.
Oh, of course. Happy birthday, Marcia. If you welcomed someone new into your family this week via wedding or birth or adoption, we invite you to rise. I can't believe I'm about to say this because this is not something that I am celebrating, and if I could, I would sit down because it's related to the Yankees. But if you're celebrating Aaron Judge's 60th home run, maybe 61 at 7 o'clock, we invite you to rise. If you did something classically fall during this first week of fall, we invite you to rise. And if you are glad to send out 5782 in style and in song with Shabbat this evening, we invite you to rise. Yanu.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, שהחיינו וקימנו והגיענו לזמן הזה.
And we remain standing as we invite Melissa and Alex up to the ark for an Ufruf blessing. Maybe switch spots so that we can see Melissa. There we go. Okay, we're good. Melissa and Alex, 11 years ago, you met in the land of maize and bloom. And for those of you who don't follow Big Ten football, that would be the beautiful campus of the University of Michigan. And 2 weeks from now, you will stand under a huppah to be married. Over the past 11 years, you've played a lot of tennis together, eaten a lot of good food together, and when Alex has been up for it, even gone to the occasional yoga class together. And of course, you've grown up together. Melissa, you love that Alex is hilarious, that he's a really good conversationalist, and that everyone loves hanging out with him. Alex, you love that Melissa is also hilarious, curious, and easygoing. And together you hope to build a home sustained by your incredible, beautiful shared values, family and friendship, open-mindedness, and a touch of adventurousness. And I can't wait to be with you as we celebrate your love under the huppah in just 2 weeks' time. And I looked ahead. Michigan will be playing Indiana on your wedding day, so hopefully we will be celebrating a big blue blowout as well. And now, using the talit that belonged to Alex's late uncle, we are going to offer you our people's most ancient blessing, the Priestly Benediction. And let's get you on the same, there we go, okay. And I'm gonna come down here for y'all. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. Shalom. Ken yehi ratzon. Mazel tov.
Please be seated.
Atem nitzavim hayom kuchem. You stand here this day, all of you, before your God, your tribal heads, your elders, and your officials, every household in Israel, even the stranger within your camp. I make this covenant both with those who are standing here today and those who are not. Each year, Parshat Nitzavim comes to remind us that none of us walks into this new year alone. Before the Israelites entered their promised land, Moses tells them that the landscape of their future is dotted with promise and pitfalls. If they remember the covenant, their children and the land will flourish. If they stray, however, the people and the land will wither. The theology of the Promised Land is a theology of interconnection, of mutual obligation and common cause. Standing on the cusp of 5783, looking out over a landscape of promise and pitfall, blessing and curse, we are reminded again of what we owe one another and the threads which bind us in shared fate. You might be following the story of the Pride Alliance at Yeshiva University, a group of LGBTQ students and allies who sued YU last year for discrimination when the Orthodox University refused to officially recognize them, claiming that the club conflicted with YU's interpretation of Torah. A New York State court ordered the university to recognize the Pride Alliance, noting that as an educational institution, YU is prohibited from discriminating against its students on the basis of sexual orientation and gender. When the United States Supreme Court declined to intervene for now, YU announced it would cancel all student clubs rather than recognize the Pride Alliance. This act offers an uncomfortable reminder of what happened in 1963 in Jackson, Mississippi, when rather than integrate its public swimming pools, the city simply closed all of the pools. On Wednesday, the Pride Alliance agreed to a stay of the New York court's ruling in the interests of their fellow students while they pursued the case in New York's appellate court. The law at issue in this case is the New York City Human Rights Law, which prohibits discrimination in employment, housing, and public accommodations. Protected classes under this law include race, religion, sexual orientation, and gender. A dissent in the Supreme Court's decision telegraphs what is at stake as if this case moves forward. Justice Alito wrote, "A state's imposition of its own mandatory interpretation of Scripture is a shocking development that calls out for review." Think about it. The implications of this statement are far-reaching and terrifying. Justice Alito is framing this issue as one of religious freedom, the freedom of Orthodox Jews to interpret Scripture in a way that forbids homosexuality. He argues that their right of religious freedom trumps the students' right to equal treatment under the law. If this case makes its way to the Supreme Court, it could legalize discrimination against religious minorities and other vulnerable populations under the guise of religious liberty. And this endorsement of discrimination will be done in the name of Judaism. There is an irony to YU's involvement in this case. Jews are a minority religion in the United States, a protected class that depends on constitutional protections for our continued freedom. Dismantling those protections will not end well for us or any group which relies on them. In the words of renowned civil rights litigator Roberta Kaplan, "We should know better. Going down this road is incredibly dangerous for Jews who are and always have been a small minority. The historical record is unambiguous. It has never gone well for us in the past, when rather than secular pluralism, the government of a nation in which we have lived has tried to assert domination by the majority faith." YU, a storied and beloved Jewish institution, is leading us away from American democracy toward Christian theocracy by erasing the rights of their most vulnerable students. If this becomes a precedent, all of us will pay the price. I am aware how it can sound for a Reform rabbi to criticize an Orthodox Jewish institution, but this is not an attack on Orthodoxy. Far from it. Over 1,500 YU alumni have publicly protested YU's treatment of the Pride Alliance. In an open letter to their school's leadership, they write, "Let us be clear. As fellow Jews, we support and will continue to support the well-being of LGBTQ+ Jews, whether they identify as Torah observant or not. We know of many LGBTQ Jews who have lost their lives for lack of that support. This is a matter of pikuach nefesh, of preserving human life." It is not orthodoxy that is at issue here, it is discrimination. In a statement released earlier this week, the students at the center of the case wrote, "YU accepted us as students. YU collects the same tuition from us as everyone else, and we will not be second-class citizens. We hope that YU will eventually accept our group for what it is, a safe place for discussion and support that LGBTQ+ students need on the YU campus to thrive." Our sages taught, "Kol Yisrael aravim ze bazeh," all Israel is responsible for one another. So what happens to Jews anywhere matters to Jews everywhere. These students are our concern. Doing what we can to protect them is our obligation. As a member of the LGBTQ community and as a Reform rabbi, I disagree with any reading of Scripture that denigrates, marginalizes, or makes any queer person feel like they and their families are less than. Torah inspires us to love and respect our fellow human beings, showing a special concern for the most vulnerable among us. YU's leadership has said that its love for its queer students is unshakable, and I believe that is true. But it is important that their love be reflected in public acts. Remember these words, "Atem nitzavim hayom kulchem," you stand this day, all of you. It is a powerful image of what it means to be a true community. We are bound together. We stand up for each other when our fellow communities need our support. We take our stand together, for we know that our freedom, our dignity, our safety depends on that of every other protected group in this country. Like the call of the shofar, the voices of the students at the center of this story are a call to attention. On the cusp of this new year, we stand together, all of us, looking out over the pitfalls and promise of an increasingly precarious future. Our dignity and freedom are bound up in the dignity and freedom of these students, and the dignity and freedom of all communities who have built their lives and thrived in America because they were protected from persecution and discrimination. In this new year, let us lift up our voices like a shofar and let them be heard. In this new year, let us affirm and strengthen the ties that bind us to one another. In this new year, let us stand together, all of us, and walk ever closer to that promised land. Shana Tova.
And we pray for that world redeemed on page 282 with Aleinu. We invite you to rise.
לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שלא עשנו כגויי הארצות, ולא שמנו כמשפחות האדמה, שלא שם חלקנו כהם, וגורלנו ככל המונם, ואנחנו משתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא, ונאמר כי פנה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ
Please be seated. As always, we pause at the end of our services for a moment of memory, remembering those whom were taken from us at this time in years past and at this time more proximate. And right now, the Central Synagogue community is in the period of Shloshim, the 30 days of mourning for Stephen Berg, Neil Berman, Howard Fisher, Irving Friedman, Morton Hertzmark, Rabbi Philip Hyatt, Lawrence Lewis, Noah Nyman, Linda Newman, Nathaniel Weisel, and Harvey Wilkes. We are observing the yard sites this Shabbat of Esther Amsterdam, Suzanne Anthold, Miriam Asquith, Sarah August, Benjamin Ballett, Fritz Bamberger, Dora Beckerman, Hazel Bellett, Augusta Berger, Edward Blitzer, Paulette Block, Alan Braveman, Helen Brodsky, James Brudner, Sue Calderon, Joanna Sarasano, Mia Corton, Eric Epstein, Harriet Epstein, Elise Valkoff, Jerome Flink, Ethel Freeman, Gertrude Friedman, Doris Gable, Sidney Garber, Irving Gerstein, Charles Gertzkop, Selvin Ginsberg, Barbara Glickman, Hazel Goldberg, Shirley Goldsmith, Hope Goldstein, Kate Golub, Shirley Gottfried, Michael Gray, Joseph Gerwin, Milton Harward,
I, Lewis Hoffman, Ben Jones, Jane Jones, Carol Kahn, Bernice Kaplan, Renee Kaplan, Irving Katz, Lila Katzen, Harold Kaufman, Emery Klein, Alex Kogan, Sydney Kreiser, Barbara Kumble, Lawrence Lane, Cynthia Levine, Norma Levitt, Ruth Levy, Irene Lichtenstein, Ben Luckham, Joseph Mandelbaum, Howard Michaels, Harry Mogan, Jonah Morse, Rebecca Morse, Jack Nadell, Gloria Nahum, Bruce Packman, Clarice Pollock, Blanche Present, David Roman, Lou Rudden, Estelle Schlissel, David Schoenfeld, Eleanor Schwartzwald, Gerard Silverman, Jeffrey Silverman, Judy Spiegel, James Steinberg, Rita Stitzer, Jesse Strauss, Robert Sudi, Ronald Sussman, Jonathan Tobias, Belle Wagner, Jacob Wallach, Joseph Wickler, and Yetta Wolfman Greenberg. If you are in the period of Shiva, the first 7 days following the passing of someone dear to you, we invite you to rise at this time. If you are in the period of Shloshim, the first 30 days, we invite you to rise. If you are in the period of Shana, the first year, we invite you to rise. And if you are observing a yard site to this Shabbat, we invite you to rise. Zichronam livracha, may the memories of your dear ones ever be for a blessing. We rise together with the mourners and join together in the words of Kadisha Tom on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlik malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, ba'agala v'zman kariv v'yimru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevarach le'olam olamei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitramam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu. Leila min kol birchata v'shirata, tushvechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'mramav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen.
As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember.
Shabbat Shalom. It is wonderful, as always, to see so many of you here for Shabbat. Please join us tomorrow morning for our Mishkan service at 9:30 a.m., virtually and in person, led by Cantor Jenna Pearsall and our rabbinic intern, Andrew Mandel, who lit the Shabbat candles for us this evening. You might have heard that there is a holiday coming up called Rosh Hashanah. It starts on Sunday night, and we will be having services at 6 p.m. and 8:30 p.m. here in this sanctuary. Please visit our website for an extensive list of all of the high holiday services and programmings, including times, locations, and virtual options, and know that we are always here.
Yes, I was just going to name also for our live streamers that you should check the live stream schedule because it's not exactly the same as the live schedule. So please check if you're joining us by live stream to make sure that you catch the times correctly. But we hope to see all of you in one way or another over the holidays.
Awesome. And we invite anyone who is under the age of bar bat mitzvah to come up to the bima right now. So we have anybody here? Maybe not. Okay, all right. More challah and
They're
grape
getting
juice for us.
ready for the upcoming family service.
I know. As we ready to sanctify, I just have to say thank you to Rabbi Hilly Haber for that incredibly powerful Torah and charge for us to finish out this year. Let's join together.
Page 5. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh bereshit, ki hu yom techila lemikrahe kodesh, zecher litziat Mitzrayim. Kivanu v'charta, ve'otanu kidashta, v'kol ha'amim, ve'shabbat kodshecha, be'ahava u'ratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, v'kadesh HaShabbat.
Wow. This is sort of in between a regular and a round hall. I guess that means we're close, but we're not quite there yet. No kids means more for us, I guess, but please join.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
Please help us finish out this Shabbat with one of my favorite Adon Olams. Thank you, Cantor. Page 321.
Oh, here you go, right there.
Thank you. Adon Olam asher malach
b'terem bo yitzir nivra, le'ed na'asa b'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra, ve'acharei kiklot hakol, levado yimloch nora, ve'hu hayam ve'hu hove, ve'hu yeh b'tifara. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem bo yitzir nivra, le'ed na'asa b'chefso kol, azay melech shemo nikra, ve'acharei kiklot hakol, levado yimloch nora, ve'hu hayam ve'hu hove, ve'hu yeh b'tifara. והוא אחד ואין שני, להמשילו להכבירה, בלי ראשית בלי תחתית, ללא העוז והמשרה. והוא אלי וחי גואלי, בצור חבלי ואין צרה, והוא ניסי ומנוסתי, נדע כוסי ביום אקרא. בידו אבקיר רוחי, ואת אישן והעירה, ועם רוחי יביאתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. בידו אבקיר רוחי, ואת אישן והעירה, ועם רוחי יביאתי, אדוני לי ולא אירא. אדוני לי ולא אירא. אדוני לי ולא אירא.
Well, thank you for letting us send this Shabbat out so beautifully. Shabbat Shalom.
Shalom.